Hi, Ken Godevanis here with Kenny's Carrots, episode number 35 today. Some thoughts on death. Not a great topic from many perspectives, but something we need to be aware of. This is taking some thinking from Christopher Watkin, his book that I'm trying to work through, Critical Biblical Theory. I'm learning so much. I hope you are through these short videos. Again, Christopher Watkin on thoughts on death. He writes, in addition to structuring our sense of time, the rhythm of promise and fulfillment in the Bible also shapes what it feels like to live in the world of the Bible. We can understand how it does this via Martin Heidegger's idea of, quote, being towards death. That's being towards death, end of quote. For Heidegger, the certain knowledge that we will someday die shapes our experience of every moment. Our death may come tomorrow or many decades hence, but its prospect casts a shadow over the whole of our lives. As Heidegger reminds us with the cheery thought that, quote, as soon as man comes to life, he is at once old enough to die, end of quote. Running out of life is not like running out of sugar or running out of luck. It is absolute, unbreakably personal, and irreversible. For Heidegger, to think and act as if my death will never happen is to live inauthentically. In Heidegger's language, the they who live this way act and speak as if death is something that happens to other people, but never to me. They run away from the reality of death. To live authentically, says Watkin, in the face of death, by contrast, is to stop pretending it will never happen, to stop running away from it or thinking about other things, and instead to experience two states. The first is anxiety, for which, for Heidegger, describes a sense that the world will continue without me and that therefore I am not at home in the world. The second is anticipation, which means embracing my own finitude, the fact that we will die, and living in the light of it. This is a helpful heuristic for understanding the experience of biblical temporality. For the Bible, my death does not loom as the great immovable event to dwarf all other events. Death is a falling asleep, an instant of change, but by no means the end of everything. No, the great future event that blazes its glorious light across all Christian experience is the fulfillment of God's promises in the return of Christ, the resurrection of the dead, the judgment of the world, and the making everything new. Revelations 21, verse 5, of the new heaven and the new earth. So biblically speaking, the Christian experience of time is not a being towards death, but a being towards fulfillment. Or a little more catchily, and in light of 2 Corinthians 1:20, a being towards yes. This Christian mode of being in the world is subject to the same modalities as Heideggerian being towards death. Just as Heidegger's they have an inauthentic response to death, forgetting it, suppressing it, and running from it, so also the Christian they, which is sadly too often also the Christian we, fail to live in the light of God's certain promises, distracting themselves away from the biblical experience of time. A biblical equivalent to Heidegger's authentic being towards death is one, to feel the anxiety, in Heidegger's sense, of God's promises loosening the stranglehold of the here and now and giving us the sense of being in but not of the world. And secondly, to live in the mode of anticipation by leaning into the future fulfillment of God's promises, consciously looking back to their initiation and forwards to their final consummation. In biblical language, this anticipation is hope, resting not on a wing and a prayer, nor on a positive mental attitude, but on the God who says to Jacob, I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Genesis 28:15. There are some thoughts on death. We can't avoid it. We can't forget about it. It's there, and we should be aware of it. But we should look forward to what happens beyond death for us. I hope you enjoyed this Kenny's Carrot, episode 35. See you next time.